these regulations and learn how to use fire extinguishers. So the major part of our employees, of Nares employees, are working in different facilities. So in that facilities, the company has to see a lot of people connected. So the company will provide the areas, for example, the designated area that we have to know, where we have the meeting points, the exit routes, and the emergency plans. So the people that work in the office will know that for the office, and we have some slides for that. And the people that are working in different facilities has to know how to move in the different facilities. So to start, sorry, this one. We have a short video then how to prevent the fire. So this is the chemical part. So the element that we have to get a fire or to avoid the fire. Then we have the fire triangle. Then we have the fuel, the oxygen, and the heat. So we will see this short video. It is 3 minutes, and then we will talk about that.
The fire triangle is a simple illustration that shows the 3 components needed to create a fire. Those are heat, oxygen, and fuel. Take a quick look at how each side of the fire triangle can be eliminated to extinguish a fire by using typical items found in most shops and houses. So the first part of the fire triangle that we're going to work on eliminating is the oxygen side. Now, usually when you think of eliminating the oxygen side, the first things that come to mind are things like water, putting the lid on a pan where there's a grease fire, or using a fire blanket. We're going to start a little fire here and put it out using something commonly found in the shop that will eliminate the oxygen. Let's go. It took a minute, but it went out when the oxygen was used up. Next, we can extinguish a fire by removing the heat. One of the ways you're probably most familiar with putting out a fire is by blowing the heat away, like when you're blowing out birthday candles. Or blowing the flame away from the match. Another way you might not have heard about, but is also kind of a fun one, is you can actually use a conducting material to conduct the heat away from the flame, extinguishing it. For this one, I've got this match lit, and all I'm going to do is use a little bit of copper wiring to conduct the heat away from the flame. For this last demonstration, we're going to show you how to stop a fire by removing the fuel. This is most commonly used in forest fires when they create a fire break to separate 2 areas so that one area burns but the other one doesn't have enough fuel to ignite. As you can see here, the fire is steadily spreading from one end of the sawdust to the other. We're going to save this last end of the sawdust just by creating a small fire break. Those are the basics of the fire triangle. It's a simple approach to explaining the 3 ingredients needed to start a fire. Once you understand how it works, you can be more effective in preventing fires and extinguishing any that occur.
Okay, so after finish this video, some points, for example, that we have in the, I'm sorry, I don't know if Enrique can you this image? Yeah. Okay. In something I want to tell you about the fire triangle that we saw before is, for example, when we have one activity in some facility, we have to complete hot work permit, and in that case we have to have a fire extinguisher with us, and depending the activity that we have to perform, we will need a fire blanket, and the fire blanket can be used not only for protect some equipment in some area, in case that we have a fire, we have to use it to extinguish that. And another thing that talking about when we prepare a hot work permit is that, for example, we need a fire watcher. A fire watcher is an important role, but not usually it has that value, because it's a person that has to be there watching during all the activity and has to be there 1 hour after the activity was complete. In the case of that, if, for example, if we have a heat, that is one of the part of the fire triangle, they will be ready to extinguish the fire. So please stop me, raise your hand if you have any question or something that maybe you want you need more clarification on that. And here for the fire extinguishers, we have the classification for them. Usually we have 5 different kind of fire extinguishers, and that depends on the material that we want, or the fire that we want to fight. We have the class A, that is the regular for ordinary combustible like wood or paper. Then we have the class B for flammable liquids like grease, gasoline, and oil. The C for electrically energized equipment that get fire. The class D is for flammable metals like titanium or lithium. And then we have the class K, that is common use in kitchen for oils, mostly used there. So in the several times in our home, we have the class ABC, that is the most common fire extinguisher that combine a material that could fight for the 3 different kind of combustibles. So we'll continue with this. So it's very important to know about the classes on for the fire extinguisher, because we cannot use it if we use it in the wrong fire, they will not be helpful for us. Let me go here. So in this slide we have, for example, some notes for the fire extinguishers. So one important is the customers or employee must provide the portable fire extinguisher. They have to be placed in location that we can reach it easily. And another very important thing that said, and is written here, if, for example, they have to, we have to reach the fire extinguisher without any possible injury. For example, in that case, the fire extinguisher has to be at maximum height of the 6 feet if the fire extinguisher is more than 40 pounds. In the case that we have to unhold it and use it. Then the fire extinguisher has to be inspected annually, but all the month we have to perform some small activity for inspection for the fire extinguishers. And during the fire marshal, for example, and we have the contract for the office, we have yearly, we have an inspection in October for all the fire extinguishers from the offices. And another thing that is very important is if an employee finds an outdated or some fire extinguisher is not charged or has any damage, for example, in the pin or something that is, or somebody looks like something is wrong, they have the responsibility to notify that to the supervisor or another person. And so in this case, everybody is working on that. It's not like a person has to do it. So if you see one fire, you want to see the expired date, you can check it. And then another thing is only approved portable fire extinguishers shall be used and shall be installed. So, in my experience, for example, I never use a fire extinguisher. I know that they have some deals and you can use it. But in case that you have to use it, you need to remember this, that is the past method, that is how to use correctly and the proper way to use a fire extinguisher. So it's 2-minute video and then we will talk about this.
Pass method for putting out a fire. In this video, we'll teach you how to properly use a fire extinguisher using the pass method. When fire strikes at your workplace, be sure to follow these 3 steps. Step 1. Check to make sure the fire extinguisher you have on hand is the correct type of extinguisher to extinguish the type of fire. Type A is used for ordinary combustibles such as wood and paper. Type B extinguishers are used on flammable liquids like gasoline and oil. Type C is for electrical fires, so they can be used on faulty outlets and appliances. Type D is used on flammable metals such as magnesium and titanium. And Class K extinguishers are used when fires involve cooking media, fats, grease, and oils. All commercial cooking sites such as restaurants need this extinguisher. If you don't feel you can safely put out the fire, exit the building immediately. Step 2. With the extinguisher in hand, step 6 to 8 feet away from the fire. Step 3. Use the pass method to put out the fire. P. Pull the pin so that you're able to discharge the extinguisher. A. Aim the extinguisher nozzle at the base of the fire. S. Squeeze the lever to discharge the extinguishing agent. Releasing the lever will stop the discharge. S. Sweep. Pointing the extinguisher at the base of the fire, move the extinguisher from left to right or back and forth in a sweeping motion until the fire is out. When the fire is out, continue to watch the fire to ensure the fire does not ignite once again. If the fire comes back, repeat the pass method. Recap. P. Pull the pin. A. Aim. S. Squeeze. And S. Sweep. Remember, fires can be harmful and fatal, so do not put the fire out yourself unless it's safe to do so. At CQ Fire and Safety, we are a
Okay, so this is a short video. So I don't know if somebody has an experience that have to use a fire extinguisher sometime or in time. So I had one experience that I did not use the fire extinguisher, but the people that was close to me had to use it. In Bay City, for example, when we changed all the grease. Oh, okay, so Enrique, can you tell us your experience, and then I will continue?
Yeah, it's not really an experience. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, it's just that I mean we have already extinguishers at the shop, but we have never. I don't know if you have already trained Felix or anybody else in the office.
Train for use the fire extinguisher?
Yes.
No, we did not prepare that. It's only this kind of training, but maybe you have to check how to do like a practical demonstration on how to use it.
Yeah, I don't know if that would be recommendable to do something, real. I don't know. That's up to you.
So, yeah, that is something that we can prepare or when I'm there. So in the shop, the main cause of fire could be the electrical part or maybe the boxes.
I say because we test, we do the fab for the panels and we test electronic elements. So it would be nice to do some kind of training so we can know what to do when when we get a short with or something like that.
Okay, that is something that we can work with that.
Yeah. Okay. That's it I want to say.
Okay. So I will let you know, or I will tell you one experience that I have in Bay City after we changed the grease hoses and we changed the regular hoses for heated hoses. They have a mesh around the the hose, the regular hose, to heat during the winter to have a good temperature for the grease is running there. And they have a problem that the hose has to go in the trench and go out of the trench, and one of the trench cover pinch the hose several times and make a shortcut, and we have a small fire. We have grease, we have grease, we have the plastic, we have electricity, we have several things there, and we have to use one of the fire extinguishers that was there, and then let the fire department from the city know that we use, for example, one of that fire extinguisher. What was lucky for everybody was in the time that we were working over there. So. So this is more of an activity that we will do together, because this is like a checklist about the fire safety in the workplace. So the first one is that your building have clean and accessible escape routes. That is something that I usually fight with the shop guys, that have always all the exit routes very clear and clean and without any object in the middle. But it's something that we are working in that. Are the fire extinguishers available? Yes, in the shop, in the offices, we have, I think, 6. But you have to check, for example, if Noel, you are working in another facility, where are the closest fire extinguishers that you have? Or where are the exit route that you have to use? Usually when you start to work in the new facility, you have that information, but it's nice and it's a good practice. Remember that and check that if something is missing or changed. So do you have fully working test firearms? In several facilities, they have, for example, 1 day and 1 hour, and they test the alarms, and they make a simulation of that. So they prepare a drill, they will test the fire alarms. And usually, you will receive an email, or it's something that is periodically, and you know the date and the hour to avoid to run in if you heard that noise. Then the fire precautions that we have to have. Usually, they are good practice of working, and we will talk about that later. But for example, has a clean space is very important to avoid a fire, and for example, to have the clean exit route. Do you have an appointed internal fire garden? In places that are bigger and crowded, for example, Bay City or different facilities of Tenaris, they have the fighter crew that are ready all the time there. So about the evacuation plan, to prepare the evacuation plan, to know where are the meeting points, to know if you are working with someone, to call him to see if we have, for example, we have an evacuation, you have to call all your team and see that all the team is okay. Then is have designated area for smokers. Then have all the fire extinguisher services and places on regular basis. And if all the electrical systems and appliances are maintained and checked regularly. Something to check is about the wires, about the plugs, and the outlet. Usually, most of the fire start there with an electrical spark. So now we can talk about the fire prevention measures that you know. I don't know if somebody wants to talk about something. If not, we can start. Continue. So,
like, for example, depending on the place that you're going to stay, wearing different clothes. So,
yes. Using, for example, fire retardant clothes is one of the prevention measures to avoid fire.
Okay.
I have another one. It's not work related, but one time when I was changing the fuel injectors on the car, once we plug everything in, as a precaution, we took the fire extinguisher that I have in the car. We took the pin out and we just had it ready next to the hood. So when we turned the car on, basically it was on hand within hand range to use it in case, like, the engine caught fire or something, which was a good idea because on the first try, a couple of screws were loose and there was some gasoline sprayed all over the place. It did not catch fire, but we were ready just in case.
Okay, that's another. Muffer here wrote at home, not leaving candles unattended. Yes. So, and not only the candle, for example, if you're cooking, that is something, then you have to be attend to that. And here we have some of the measure. The first one is be awareness and train. So we train about the safety policies and the emergency exits and the fire safety training. So that's the first point. So know what to do to avoid that. And in case that we are in the middle of a fire, for example, to know what to do. So, and for example, another experience that I had, one time living in Bay City in my apartment, the police girl knocked my door and told me that we have a small fire in the apartment on the top of my apartment. So I have to leave my apartment as it is at that moment. Lucky for me, I had my wallet and my passport close to the door. So I took the backpack that was over there. I put in my wallet, I put my passport, and I went outside waiting until the firefighters arrives, and after that have to wait. Was just a small smoke on that apartment, was not a fire, but something important is to know to stay at home if you have to evacuate in that case. So, oh wait. So another one is the good housekeeping that we talk, the electrical safety. So this is important, is to check and report if you see some electrical equipment immediately and report any fault. Smoking safety, just smoke in the place that you have to smoke and dispose the cigarettes properly. Inspect the maintenance equipment. Usually some mechanical equipment, if they are not greasy, for example, they will start to heat it. So in that case, we have one of the parts for the fire triangle, that is the heat. So then we have emergency response, to know about the location of the fire extinguisher. Report hazard, to if in case that you use one of the fire extinguisher, you have to report it to replace for a new fire extinguisher that use it. Have the fire drill, that is something that Enrique told us. Now we have to prepare. If you use flammable liquid, you have to have one storage to put all the flammable liquids in the proper way, in the proper space. And as Luciana said, about the use the proper PPEs, like a fire-resistant clothes. So with this, and this is something important, then to follow all the protocols and follow all the rules, everybody is participating in the fire safety measures. So all employees, all people, and not only, for example, if you are working, if you are in the supermarket, if you are in the shopping. So everybody is contributing to create a safer workplace, or including environment. So if you see something, if you notice, you can help a lot if you notify that, for example. And this is for the people that is in the office. So where are the fire extinguishers located? So Mariam, you are in the office. You can tell me at least 2 fire extinguishers where are located. Or Maffer, Pablo.
In
I
the
can go.
warehouse.
Maybe at the work.
Yeah.
How is maybe at the warehouse? Okay, in the warehouse you have 1. And
In the
every day-
entry of the office,
okay, yeah, you have another one there.
In the lobby. There's one in the lobby, I think.
Okay, and you have
There's one
more.
by the kitchen.
There should be
Okay.
one in the kitchen.
Yes,
Oh.
outside the kitchen you have 1.
There are 5, I think.
6. There are 6.
Okay.
So we have in the warehouse, we have in the kitchen, we have 2.
There's one in the workshop.
There are 2 in the workshop.
Oh.
So let's see. I will show you here. We have the layout. So this part is the entry. We have this is as Seba said. This is in the kitchen. Here in the warehouse. And we have 2 in the warehouse because we have here the machine to engraving. We have here, and we have this one is the new, is the last year this fire extinguisher was located here, but now as they put it the TV screen in this wall, so we move to this one. So and this is the exit route for from all the offices and spaces in the office. So good for the people that know where the fire extinguisher. It's very important to know that, and it's very important to know how to go out quickly from the space that you're working. And I don't know if you have any question for this, any comments or something that you want to talk. So I will stop sharing this one. So this one, okay. If not, we
there is a question, Grace.
yes.
Sorry. The question is, the back door should be an emergency door or is okay as a normal door?
And let me go back. Is this one?
Yes.
In what you got to say that it's an emergency room. It's an exit and it's an emergency at the same time because you have it's open up to outside. It has to be not locked when the people are there.
But I mean, if the door is locked, should be possible to unlock from the inside very quickly. But today, I think it's not possible.
If the door is not locked,
Yeah,
I think
it's locked
yes.
with the key.
We have to
okay.
lock.
They have to be not locked with the key during they are working. In the case that, they have to open very quickly. It's the same as the front door. Yeah, that door is not locked when you're inside. So in the case that you have to go out.
So we should keep open or without the key while people is inside.
Yes,
in case
that's
we
right.
have an emergency.
Yes. So I think if you have something then a fire here and you do not know how to very quickly open the door, is like could be a disaster there.
Okay, maybe we need to convert to the one that you push the handle and you open the door without any key.
Yes, but that's in something, for example, that had to be done with the management of the offices.
Okay.
Because there is a rent space.
Yeah, no, I mean,
When
this is something that is mandatory because I understand that when you have a fire in the middle of the office, you need two options. You go out from the back door or the front door.
yes,
If the back door is locked and you don't have the key,
yes, that is
you're trapped.
it has to be without key when the people is working.
Okay. Okay.
But the back door doesn't require a key to unlock it from the inside. It requires a key to unlock it from the outside, but not from the inside. The back door has two locks. One of those like keypads ones that you can just flip it from the inside, and the actual handle it has a login too, which
Yes.
you can either have a key to come from the outside or on the inside. It's the same thing. It's like a little flip.
We should leave open. We should leave unlock both key. That's what Paul is saying.
Oh, okay. Like leave it unlocked during the day.
Yes,
Okay.
because sometimes you block the first key and not the other one. That's
Okay.
it's completely different from the front. The front is
Oh,
easy
okay.
to get out. That's
Okay.
something we have to change.
Oh, okay. Okay. Bye bye.
And Mafa, right the hand. Yes.
Yes, my question was if we should consider a fire hazard keeping our electronics plugged in all the time in the office. Should we be disconnecting something specifically, or is it okay?
So I think that it's not a hazard. If they have, if the plug is okay, if the cable is, if the wire is okay, and the outlet is okay, it's not a hazard.
Okay.
So that the problem is it starts with, for example, you disconnect some electronics pulling the cable, and then maybe you can damage the outlet or you damage the wire. But if not, it's not a hazard.
Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, I will stop presenting here. I will start with this one. We have the second part of the training today. Just a moment. That is this. So the second training for today is the bloodborne pathogens training. This is more, in our case, in the industry that we work or in the offices, it's not something that we are free and safe, but we have not a lot of chances to get some kind of illness from this, as if we work, for example, in the lab. But it's something that is required, so we have to prepare this training and know about the different bloodborne pathogens. So the first part is the objective of this training is understand what is a bloodborne pathogen, how to prevent disease at work, and which are the employees and the customer responsibilities. So the first thing to notice is this kind of symbol. If you have, in that case, the chance to get reach the bloodborne pathogen. It's a biohazard symbol. So this is a very short introduction. For example, you have some kind of disease like a black plague in the medieval time, then was an illness carried by a rat fleas, and in that case, in that moment, 1/3 of the world population died, and nobody knew about the cause of that illness. And in that moment, there was not any cure. Today, we have another deadly disease, and the bloodborne pathogens that we will talk today is the HIV and the hepatitis B. They are the bloodborne pathogen and the microorganisms that they concern from this training. And for example, we can be exposed to that bloodborne pathogens when we get contact with a contaminated blood or another fluid, but it's very difficult and we get with another fluid. I will list you all of them, but in our case, the blood is the main factor. So in this case, the definition of bloodborne pathogen standard is located at the 29 Code Federal Regulation. It focuses in two dangerous and threatened bloodborne pathogens: the human immunodeficiency virus (HIV) and the hepatitis B virus is HBV. And here we have a small explanation about the HBV, the hepatitis B. There is an inflammation of the liver. That is could be if the chronic HBV can be cause liver damage, cirrhosis, cancer, liver cancer are included in death. And there is a good thing for this is that in this moment exists a vaccine for the hepatitis B. Then we have the hepatitis C, that is another bloodborne pathogens, is the liver inflammation. One of the symptoms is the liver inflammation. Usually and mostly the people has asymptomatic and it's not lethal, so it's not complicated, but we have two different, the B and the C. And then we have the HIV, that is the virus that destroys the immune system persons. And HIV can mute to the AIDS, so it's the acquired immune deficiency syndrome, or in Spanish, SIDA. In that case, the person that has that illness, the immune system has not the power to fight with any virus. And for example, a small cold can cause the death. And in this moment, there is no any vaccine for the HIV. So the transmission for the HIV and the HBV is mostly for blood and for different human fluids, as saliva or some fluid that is contaminated with blood. So that is the main part that we have to avoid and know how to work with that. So these are all the other fluid, human fluid, that could transmit that kind of AIDS. There is sexual contact, cerebrospinal fluid, synovial fluid, pleural, amniotic fluid, saliva, even the procedure, because could be contaminated with blood. But usually in our work activity, we are not in contact with that. So we have one of the points is how to prevent to have this kind of contacts. So in order to reduce or eliminate the hazard to be in contact with bloodborne pathogens, we have to use proper. Antares has implemented some rules about how to act to avoid this exposure. So it's using the proper PPEs, direct contact with blood or other body fluids. Make sure that the PPE is in good conditions and dispose the PPEs in proper containers. I think maybe we can have this problem if somebody get cut or injury or something in the shop, for example, but the first aid kit had gloves in case that somebody has to help another people. They are gloves to use it, for example. So the first part is glove. The second one is use control to eliminate or reduce the employee exposure. If you see a surface that was contaminated with blood, clean it. Use it a glove. Put it your gloves and clean the surfaces. If you are exposed, the first part is wash the hands with soap, with water, very thoroughly. And another thing, sorry, my doctor. And another thing is go to the doctor if in case that you were affected with some contamination about. And another thing is then we as Antares, we provide from training that when we make the hand tool training is how to use properly the tools and the knife and the screwdrivers and all the elements that can hurt our hands and maybe without contaminate any surface. This is the part for the responsibility from Antares and from our customers. From Antares is establish an exposure control plan and have it available to the employees. In the case we have, for example, and everybody know where is the first aid kit and the elements that are inside. Then we have to update it annually, this plan, and we have to review it. And we have to train the people that will be working with us and provide information and training for the workers. Then we have the customers, and that is customer responsibility, because a lot of us, we are not working in the offices, are working in different facilities. So in that kind of facilities, the customer has to provide the hand washing facilities and the sanitized elements, provide through HSC department support if you have any accident, and provide the places to dispose any contaminated material. And so another thing that is important is that Antares not provide hepatitis B vaccines to the employee, but with your medical insurance, you can go to a pharmacy and request that vaccine. And I think it's covered for the health insurance, and if not is covered, it's not expensive. The only thing it will be have the pain on the arm for a few days, but it's something that you put it one time on life. And so I don't know if somebody has an experience with that, because the worst part that we have, so the main part that we can have contact with some blood is if somebody else has an accident, and our first reaction is try to help. In that case, we can be in contact with blood from another person. That is very instinctive to go to run to help. So in that case, is the main point is to wash thoroughly after that. And if you know that or if you doubt, or if you know that the person could have any of this illness, for example, you have to go to the medic to start a protocol with different kind of medicines to avoid to reach that kind of bloodborne pathogens. When I was child many years ago, I was babysitting 2 kids, and one of the kids started bleeding the nose, and was like a very quick reaction from myself to try to help him. And so I finished with blood for this little boy. So the mother of this kid told me about that I was crazy in that moment, because I do not use all the care and the request, all the care that was needed in that moment. But the first reaction is to help. So the people that are in the shop, for example, try to, if something happened like that, is open the first aid kit and put it in gloves, for example, and use all the elements that you have there. And if you are in a facility, it's called to the emergency crew. For example, I never remember the number from Tenaris emergency crew, but I have a sticker inside the helmet, for example, with the number. So it's something to help. And let me find it here. So this kind of PPEs are if you work in the lab, then you can get then you can be in contact with maybe a bottle of blood from other people. So, but in our case, the only thing that we can use is when we can have any chance is using the gloves or a shield or something like that. But that's all. So we don't need the shock covers, face shield, the splash goggles, or using an apron. But in another industry, they need it. And so I think this is the last one. That is the proper procedure that can reduce risk and of infection to zero. Is wash your hand and follow the safety hygiene and work practices. Dispose needle in appropriate container. Never cut, bend, or break the needles, and follow the proper disposal procedures. And I saw in some places, for example, they have different trash can. If somebody needs to have some needles of insulin or something like that, to throw it there, for example. That is a trash can, a small trash can, then you have to dispose of it, for example, in the hospitals. So they have different treatment for that. And then follow proper disposal procedures, so contaminated laundry and PPEs. So I don't know if somebody has any doubt of this or want to share something. That is something that never think that could happen, but is something that we have to know about how to work in that moment.
I think it was clear. Thank you very much, Graciela.
Okay, so if
do like the people that go to the office, do they know what we've got in our space where we put all the things for emergencies? Botiquín. Sorry, I don't know how to say botiquín.
First aid kit.
First aid kit. Yeah.
Do we know what we've got there?
There's gloves, there's gauze, there's candy for a sore throat, and there's some painkillers as well. There's a lot of things. There's a pair of scissors, like the surgical tag, like the little medical scissors, and pretty sure we have gloves. Pretty sure we have gauze. If I'm correct, we have alcohol tabs and like ointment for burns and stuff.
Aspirin.
Okay, so we all know what we've got then.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sure.
And we know that just in a really big emergency, we need to call 911, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that is usually you have to call 911 if it's an emergency, whatever the emergency is, you have to call 911. And for example, if you are I usually put the example of Tenerife because Bay City, because I spent several years there. But if you call at first at the 911, you have to call to the fire, the medical crew as well, because they will open and they will know this, and they will tell the firefighters or the medical emergency or the police or whatever where is the emergency and where are the people located. So to do it faster. So okay, I think we are almost there. We have 8 minutes and we needed to training, so we are okay.
Okay. There's one point related to safety or emergency that I would like to say here, that we put I don't know how to say guardias telefónicas in English. I don't know.
On call.
On call. Okay, we have always a number where we put someone that could attend an emergency, but is not referred to a medical emergency or related to something related to safety. It say emergency, but in an emergency case, I think everybody knows that we need to call 911, but just in case, we need to clarify that it's not that type of emergency.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so I will send you maybe on Friday the test for these 2 trainings, the link with for the video for the people that will not be possible to be here today. So if we don't have another thing to talk today, we will see you next month on the second Wednesday. So in March, so will be March 12th. So with another